All right, we're here with episode 28. And tonight's episode is going to be a recap of our recent event, our mastermind event in the Twin Cities. Hopefully, you guys are all doing well out there. How are you doing, Johnny?
Doing pretty good, man. Just getting ready for this week. I think we got a busy week ahead of us because we're gonna be both out of town. But yeah, I'm glad we're gonna be able to go recap over what we went over on that Friday. My thoughts are is that there was so much good information that I'm hoping we don't miss anything, right? But overall, man, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good. It's been a good July 4th weekend, right? So, yeah, how was your July 4th? You do anything?
It's good. We dropped by like a parking ramp downtown and watched the fireworks from the parking ramp. There wasn't that many people, so it was nice, man. like, it
Cool.
wasn't crowded or anything, and it rained up here, right? So,
Mm.
a lot of fireworks shows actually got rained out. But downtown Minneapolis actually started firing. They were a little late, but once they started going off, it was pretty nice.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yep.
Cool. I did not head out to see any fireworks. I was a little bit tired, but yeah, yeah, it did rain too. It did rain too yesterday. Kind of rained out in the afternoon, but it did dry back up. So it was a pretty good July 4th. But yeah,
Nice.
let's get right into this episode here. So we had our recent mastermind event, and thanks to everybody who was able to come out. Of course, huge shout out to our sponsors to help us make that happen. And if you missed out on the event, this episode is for you, right? To kind of see what you missed out on, right? And so,
Yep.
how did it go for us, and all that? So, Johnny, I'll let you lead right into it.
Yeah, yeah. So, I got some questions for you to go right off the bat. So, what did you think about the mastermind, man? I think that you were the one that kicked us off with the first one to speak. Outside of me welcoming people, what'd you think of like afterwards? You got to sit down through the rest of the event while I was kind of hosting it. Did you get a lot of good material from it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, thank you for hosting the event. By the way, you did a great job.
Thanks.
It was kind of like it was kind of like real estate church, right? So we had to have the pastor up there as the MC, right? It's only fitting. So, um, no, I mean, overall, I thought the event was great. Much better than I expected. I mean, of course, we would have loved to have more people. We had about 30 people registered, right? We had room
Mhm.
for 50, kind of what we were expecting. Um, More would have been better, but I think the amount of people came out was just right. And honestly, at the amount of people that we had in the room, we didn't even have enough time to go around and really talk to everyone, right? Which we kind of missed out
Right.
on a little. To have a little bit more one-on-one time with people,
Hmm.
that would be nicer. But yeah, so I kicked off the event, the first session, which was you know the 90-day action plan, right? So I thought that was a good way to kick off the event, just because if people were newer to the investing game, or um, they're trying to figure it out, right? That was a perfect session for that. And even if they weren't seasoned, right, maybe they might have a couple things they need to work on in terms of building up their boots on the ground team, right? So like
Hmm.
couple things I mentioned is like, hey, if you want to invest, you got to build your team, right? um you have to have your realtor, your loan officer, your property manager, your contractors all lined up, people to help you to be successful, right? And whether you're investing locally in your local market or you're going somewhere outside your market, these are all steps that you can take to make sure that you're successful. So
Yeah, no, I thought that was really good. I like how you also went over, like you asked a question, like when someone comes to you and they're like, well, I want to invest in real estate. Like you asked the question, like, okay, what do you want to do, right? Like, do you want to
right, right.
do long term? Do you want to do short term rental, like Airbnb stuff? Do you want to do a flip? Do you want to like? There's so many different ways of investing in real estate. Do you just want to do the loan part, right? Like, and
Mhm.
so oftentimes, like when you ask that, what kind of response do you normally get? when you do ask them like, hey, like which type of investment properties or which
Right.
type of do you want to do?
Right. Yeah. 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 No, I mean, it's such a important question for people to know. Like, hey, if you're going to be an investor, you have to know at least one or two things that you are looking to do, right? And there's a couple of times where I mean, more than half the people that come to me, they say, "Hey, I want to invest." I'm not gonna lie. People say, "I want to invest in anything. I want to do anything and everything." I'm like, "No, slow down, slow down. You can't. I can't help you if you want to do everything, right? Send you any deal. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, right? Like, hey,
Mhm.
I can only help you accomplish your goal if I know what you actually want to do. If you're trying to cover everything, that's really hard. Like, you're trying to do like flips, you're trying to do like rentals, you're trying to do short-term rental. You're mixing everything up, that becomes very complicated, right? Um,
Yeah.
and especially if it's a newer investor, hey, you have to be very specific, right? You have to have a specific buy box that you are comfortable with, right? If it's long-term rental, like what neighborhoods are you comfortable with? If you're doing a flip, what level of flip are you comfortable with? You want to do like a complete gut job and redo, or you just want to do like a little bit of lipstick on a pig, right? There's differences to this, right? So yeah. Yep. So
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, so I'm in total agreement. Yeah, I'm in total agreement that, like, you gotta kinda have an idea of what you want. Like, you gotta have an idea of what your returns are gonna look like,
mhm.
whether you want cash, right, in a short-term period, or whether you want to hold on to the property for a long-term period.
Mm,
I thought that was really, really good. And then once you figure out that strategy, like, then you got the next steps, and it's like what you were saying earlier. You were talking about, the different job markets, the different,
oh yeah.
trends, and the different like what kind of landlord do you want to be? Do you want to
Right.
have a property manager? Do you just want to own it? Like, you went over a ton of stuff, and then of course, then you went over building the team, which, of
Mhm,
course, I think is really good. Having of course your local realtor, your loan officer, your general contractor, your handyman, like, and then folks that do short-term loans, right?
mhm.
That comes in really handy, especially if you want to do something like a flip, in case you need the funds. um so the next question is, like, so you went over having an action plan and getting your first investment property in 90 days, right? So and you went over a bunch of different lending possibilities, but, like, can you go over the 7-step roadmap?
Um, yeah, yeah. So, man, I don't have it pulled up right now, but I mean, the first thing, of course, is to figure out what you want to do, right? Right.
Mhm, mhm.
Figure out what strategy you want to do. One of
Yeah,
them was like, hey, figure out your market, right? You
yeah,
gotta know
yeah.
what market you wanna invest in, right? Um, and then find a realtor, right? Hook up with
Mhm,
a realtor that or that meet a realtor that you want to interview a realtor that understands investing, right? Or what
yeah.
strategy you want to do, right? I mean, if you're trying to do flips, if you're trying to do short-term rentals, hire somebody who understands that stuff, right?
Mhm,
Don't
mhm.
just hire some random realtor. They're not going to understand Airbnb, right? If they've
That's
never
so
done it
true.
before, right? It's gonna be tough. You're gonna have a yeah, yeah, yeah. And also flips. If you want to do a flip, you have to hire a realtor that understands deals, right? Where are the
Mhm,
neighborhoods with the returns that you're looking for, right? If you're talking to realtors and they don't know how to guide you on where those numbers, those returns are possible, and those numbers may not be possible in a certain city anyway, by the way.
mhm,
But
mhm.
if what you're trying to do is not possible or they can't guide you off the top of their head, they should be able to pinpoint you, hey, we should look at this neighborhood, we should look at that neighborhood, or this zip code or that zip code, right? So hire a good realtor, hire a good loan officer, right? And like we talked about, not all loan officers understand investing or the programs out there, right? And you and me as brokers, we have a number of options available for investors that are not just your conventional investment loans. So we have a lot of solutions that not a lot of loan officers know to offer clients, right? Such as a DSCR product, right? Where
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
based on the ability of the They don't care about your income, right? And a lot of investors are like, wait, what? They don't care about my income. Cool, sounds good. What we care about is the income of the property, right? The property has to
Mhm.
cover the mortgage, right?
Yep.
And as long as they can do that, then we're good. As well as they have to have a good credit score. You can't have you really can't be below 640, I believe. It's gonna be tough, right? And then you also need 20% down. So before you
Mhm.
get too excited, you need those things at minimum. Yeah. So then the loan officer, property manager, if you want to have a property manager, right, or you want to self-manage, you can go that route as well. And then of course hire a contractor or have a good resource for a contractor, right? You're going to need one at some point, right? And then also a handyman, right? So yeah, you may not need the general contractor for the small stuff, right? It might be too little for them to take on, and so go find a handyman that can be there for you to handle the emergencies for you. So I think that's really pretty much the 7 steps for the roadmap, right? So
Yeah. No, you covered it. On here, you got strategy,
mhm,
market, choosing your market, right?
mhm,
Building your team out, finding that local realtor, securing your funding with, your loan officer, and then planning for management. And I think that that last one is key, right? Planning for
yeah,
management. I think that most people think that, oh, they can just buy a rental property, they can just get a tenant in there and they should be good, right? And
yeah,
it doesn't always work that well, right? Because what if you put a tenant in there and then they don't make their first payment? Or like I did on my first investment property, I allowed a friend to go live in there, right?
oh, yeah,
And like I never was able to increase rent because the friend, I knew their financial situation, so I know I was
mhm,
never able to increase rent. And so after about 3 years I was like, hey man, like I need to increase rent. And like the taxes are going up, like I'm
yeah,
running into kind of a bind, right? And
yeah,
tax and insurance going up. So how can we work this out? And he was like, well, how much do you need to increase it by? And I was looking at it and I was like, because I haven't increased in the last 3 years, I need to increase it by a pretty significant amount. And he was like,
yeah.
oh, all right, then,
Tough,
let me just find a different place.
man. Mhm.
And
No, and that's I think like I mentioned at the presentation that hey, getting the property is half the battle, right? The
Mhm,
other thing that's really going to make or break your deal is how you manage it, right? And that's
mhm, mhm.
like you said, if you're a nice guy and you don't stick to your rules,
Yeah,
it's not gonna go well for you, right? And
yeah,
that's sometimes where you have to hire a proper manager because you don't want to be the bad guy, right?
right,
So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, so moving on, right? So I think at the very end there you had said, don't overthink it, right?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
when do you find that people kind of stop? Like when do they start and then at what point do they stop in those steps? Like do do they stop after most people probably don't even go through the whole entire thing and actually get one in 90 days. They probably overanalyze, which I think that's what I did for so many years, is just analyze properties and then come to
yeah,
realize that, you know what, like I was an underwriter, right? So I was working for the bank and I was making them good money. And all the people that
yeah,
came through actually, all their properties were good. They came back and refinanced multiple years later. And I'm like, dude, like these guys are making a killing. How can I
yeah.
jump in? And I think that, I definitely overthink, overanalyze.
Mhm.
Like I think that usually after about 30 days, I've kind of like given up on it and then went back to square one.
Yeah.
What are you seeing on your end?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning, something as simple as just doing the work to talk to people could stop most people already, right? Like, um,
Mhm.
hey, I can't find a good realtor or I can't find a good loan officer, right? You keep calling people and they just don't meet the criteria, right? They don't know what they're talking about. You know more about investing than they do. It's not a good sign, right? And so sometimes people give
Mhm.
up, right? And that might be a good place to give up. But then, like you said, another common thing is underwriting deals. You can underwrite deals for yourself. You can massage those numbers to make it look good, right? And
Mm,
if
mhm.
sometimes you manipulate those numbers so much that you're convincing yourself that's a good deal, right?
Yeah.
or you could convince yourself that's a bad deal. Same thing, right? So yeah, definitely paralysis analysis by the numbers is a possibility. But the biggest thing that I see a lot of investors stop at is when it comes time to sign the offer, right? When they're ready to submit an offer on a deal that they think that will work out, sometimes they hesitate on that, but then the other most common hesitation is when it comes to closing day, and they're like, "Oh crap, today is the day everything like it's official, right?" And so
Right.
a lot of newer investors, some of them will be scared to go to
Mhm.
closing, right?
Mhm.
And even though this is what they've wanted, even though the numbers make sense, the underwriter from the, like you said, the lender has approved the deal. So and then of course me as the realtor or whoever your realtor is, they if they're looking over your shoulder, like yeah, it's a good, the numbers make sense, the location's good, or meets whatever you're looking for. If it makes sense, and then it's just a lot of people are like they get into their own head like, oh, what if it doesn't work out, what if this doesn't, and then they can't make themselves get over that hump to go sign, right? um
Mhm. Mhm.
but I think one of the things that makes them do it is that, hey, they've seen other people do it, right? Just like you said, you've seen other people be successful. You've seen other people do deals just like this. So once you've seen other people do it, the question becomes, why not you, right? And
Yeah.
why can't you
Yeah.
do it, right? And I think
Yeah.
once they realize that, they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So I've seen it done. It's possible. This is a fairly good deal. My agent says it's good. My loan officer says good. My lender approves it. Um, let's go for it, right? That's really what has
Yeah.
to happen. And you do kind of have to also think worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, if the deal doesn't pan out, what's the worst case? You may lose some money. You may lose your down payment, but at the end of the day, if you have learned a lesson, it's not really a loss, right? That's how I look at it. So
Yeah, that's so true.
yeah.
That like, I always tell everybody, "Hey, like, when you go to college, like, you normally end up with, like, 50 something thousand or more in college debt, right? So
Mhm.
rather than spending that on college debt, I would rather invest that money into whatever transaction. And if I lose like, $20,000 on the transaction, it is what it is. It was a great learning process. And then,
Yeah.
the next one for sure, I'm going to make money, right? That's how I
Right.
look at it.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
no, thanks for that. So let's go
Cost of
ahead and
tuition.
let yeah, exactly. It's the tuition cost. Yeah.
Right.
Um,
Right. Right.
So let's jump into
Oh yeah.
Pafua's session, right? So I was pretty surprised on a couple of things that Pafua said. She was like,
Mhm.
okay, so like, what's not a surprise is that she's from Florida, and Florida is a vacation market, right? So that's definitely not a surprise. But what did surprise me was that they're taking like 60 to 90 days on the like for the properties to be on the market before they get sold.
Yeah.
And that totally surprised me. I was like, wait, hold up. Like, you guys are like, we're like still like 30, 45 days.
Mhm.
They're selling at 60, 90 days. So my thoughts are is
Yeah.
that, maybe people can't hold that long. And if they can't hold that long, you might be able to jump in and get a deal, right? Especially if you want to invest in that Florida area. Um, so I thought that was a really key factor. And then, she talked about long term. She said that there's not that much long term in that area. It's just really the workers, that need that long term. But everybody else does short term rentals, right?
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
retirement homes is what she said. So short term
Mhm.
rentals or retirement homes, and she went into, like short term rentals, Airbnb. Um, Dude, I was also really surprised at how many people were interested in Airbnbs, right? I thought that
Mhm.
that market was kind of it came and it went, but
Mm.
like when randomly I threw that question out there and I was like, "Hey, if we did an Airbnb one out in Florida and went and showed you guys how to do it, would you guys be interested?" And, like, pretty much everybody raised their hands, dude. Like, and
Yeah.
I was pretty surprised by that.
Mhm.
Um, so did you capture anything from her session?
Yeah. So, like you said, what shocked me kind of was that a lot of people were actually interested in Florida, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
honestly, I had this session kind of for Pafua because I was personally interested in Florida, right?
Yep.
Because I'm tired of winter here in Wisconsin, and same with you guys in the Twin Cities. But I did not expect that many attendees would be actually interested in learning about Florida, investing in Florida, right? And I have been following the Florida real estate. I mean, we see the headlines here and there saying that Florida is correcting, which before did confirm that,
Mhm,
hey, yeah, it's not a massive crash, but it is correcting back to the levels of before the pandemic, right?
mhm,
Which is good. If you're looking at buying, that means it might be time to get in because now the prices are
mhm.
not like crazy high.
Skyrocketing.
Right. They're not crazy
Yeah.
high. I think like before I talked about like before people were just listing the houses like 100K over, and then they would sell for like even another 100K over, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But now the prices are actually correcting. So now if you do actually want to buy something, right, it might be time to take a serious look. And like you mentioned, the 60, 90 days it takes to move inventory now. Um, and that is a good sign for buyers, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Uh, yeah. So I think, I mean, depends on the seller's situation, but a lot of buyers in Florida, right? They bought during those COVID times, and maybe they were just trying to buy a second home for fun or an investment. But now that we're 6 years after COVID, maybe it's like, hey, I don't really need to be here anymore, or it didn't work out to what I had expected. And so now, if these people are getting desperate, right? They don't want to own in Florida anymore, and they want to get out of it. Well,
Mhm.
now might be the time to go pick up a good deal, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, and so for a little bit of background, Pafua lives in the Fort Myers, Cape Coral area, which is the Gulf side of Florida, so the Southwest, right? And so that's a great area for snowbirds, for boating, for fishing, beaches, right? That's where what is it, the white sand beaches are, right?
Mhm,
Sarasota
mhm,
and Naples, the fancy area, right? And
mhm,
I think before I said it's only a 2 hour drive to Miami side, which is the east side, right? Um,
mhm.
so and then you had thrown out the idea of, hey, if we do a Florida real estate investing field trip, who'd be interested in coming, right? And I think, yeah, like you said, about half the room raised their hands that they'd be interested in going on for a Florida investor field trip. And before was like, awesome, let's we could probably do a yacht cruise, right? So
Mhm.
so we got some things we're working on here in the future for a Florida mastermind. So people who are interested, right? And I know some of our people in our community, right? They desire a place to retire where it's hot and maybe they can grow some tropical fruit farms. And so I hear Florida is a great place for that, right? So
Mhm, mhm.
we can also visit that too. So
Yeah, no,
yeah, I
I
thought I
I
thought her.
I thought I thought, she went over quite a bit of good stuff. Like,
Mhm,
she talked about, diversifying your portfolio as an investor, having
mhm,
some long-term rentals and then having some short-term rentals. And then,
mhm,
it's okay to have rentals across different states too. And then after she talked about that, she also talked about, some of the benefits of owning Airbnbs, right? When you own a Airbnb, and you manage it yourself, you have the ability to claim like accelerated depreciation. Now, again, we're not we're not CPAs and we're not attorneys out here, and you can go and check your local guidelines as well as your federal guidelines. But my thoughts are is that you could, if you're making a lot of money, Airbnbs can alleviate some of the taxes by doing some accelerated depreciation. I think that's pretty powerful if you are able to do it and you are able to handle that type of transaction. She did say that in Florida you want to have insurance, but you also want to have you gotta get the air coverage too from Airbnb, or at least she does that, right? So she has an insurance
Yeah.
policy to cover all the insides of her house, like a rental. And then she also has air cover. So when someone actually breaks something inside of her house, she can ask Airbnb and use that insurance and claim some of the money so that she can actually go back and buy something new, right? And so
Mhm.
I thought that that was pretty good. She also covered, like making sure you have your team, just like how you did. Um,
Mhm.
in an Airbnb, she said that you're going to need your maintenance crew, you're going to need your cleaning crew, right? And
Mhm.
something that like I didn't think about, but my thoughts are is that once you hire a group of people and they're really good, that you should
Yeah.
probably just keep them on. But then she was telling us that you keep them on for like a year, and then sometimes you got to trade them out because like sometimes they get lazy because they've been working for you for a while, and they don't clean it as good as they first did when they first got the contract, right? And so now you got to
Mhm.
find someone new that will be able to clean it better. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Like I've never run into that because I thought that if you got a good group, you're good to go. But that's not always the case, right? Not everybody always wants to clean an Airbnb, or at least that's what it sounds like. Um,
No, I think so. I do own some Airbnbs, and we have that problem too, where um,
okay.
your regular cleaner, after a certain amount of time, you want to switch it up, right? You want to send in a different crew, right?
Hmm.
And what they do is they're going to clean it differently from your regular crew, and
Hmm.
they'll let you know if anything is missed, right? Like, oh, hey, I noticed this was dirty or that was dirty, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes it does pay off, and sometimes you do want to have backup cleaners too, especially when you have an issue with your primary cleaner if they're not available, right?
Hmm.
Especially for the same day turns where you have one person checking out, one person checking in. You better have that backup cleaner to go, right? So it does pay off to have that. So that is
Multiple
pretty powerful.
cleaners.
Right. But at
Okay.
the end of the day, your reviews will tell you personally if your place is clean or not, right? If your guests complain about the cleanliness of your place, then that's a sign that you should probably look into what your cleaner's doing and probably fire
I
them
see.
and get a cleaner, right? So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. So she talked a little bit about, competitive pricing, right? She said that
Mhm,
she just uses what Airbnb kind of gives her. Is that what
mhm.
you do too?
No, so I don't do that. I mean, not really. So I mean, Airbnb does have some kind of pricing software within Airbnb, right? I don't use
Mhm.
that because supposedly, so I went to the school of Avery Carl, right? So you know
Mhm.
Avery well, the
Yep.
short-term shop, right? And so she wrote this book for Bigger Pockets, and she's pretty well known in the short-term space,
That
and
she's good
she
what she does.
teaches. Yeah, she's great at what she does, and without her, without learning from her the confidence to manage a property thousands of miles away, right? Get her book if you're interested in learning how to manage short-term rentals by yourself, thousands of miles away. It's fantastic insight. And other things she teaches is that you were talking about the pricing is that there's
Mhm.
software out there that will automatically look at all the Airbnbs in the area, right? And they will adjust your pricing live, right? And that's what we use.
Oh,
So
nice.
we use a software called Price Labs. And so
Okay.
Price Labs is one of the well-known softwares out there in the Airbnb space. And it plugs into what is known as our platform management system, which is OwnerRez. And so OwnerRez is connected to multiple platforms that we're on. So meaning we're on Airbnb, we're on Verbo, and we could be on other platforms too, like booking.com and all this other stuff. We do have direct booking website through OwnerRez. Um, but what it does is Price Labs will always consistently look at what's going on in the area around our Airbnb, and it will adjust our pricing automatically, and then it will send it to OwnerRez, and then OwnerRez will automatically push out updated pricing to Verbo and Airbnb, right?
Oh,
Um,
nice. Sweet.
yeah. So it's pretty cool. So basically, you set up Price Labs one time. You go into Price Labs and you set up, hey, here's my base price, and you say, hey, here's my minimum price, and then you say, okay, go. And it pretty much comes up with like a price for the weekdays, for the weekends, uh, busy season, slow season. It comes up with all this pricing, right? And it even has the ability to do like last minute specials, right? So if your place is not booked
Nice.
and it's coming, like say the weekend's coming and you got no bookings, it'll drop the price for you automatically too.
Sweet.
So as long as yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. And like, living we have our property in Milwaukee, and we have a lot of festivals here, right? And so it's
Yeah.
kind of cool. In the summer, we'll randomly get a booking and it'll come in and it'll be like in the middle of June, and it'll be like, oh, got a booking for the weekend here for our 2-bedroom apartment in Milwaukee area. I'm like, wow, $700 booking for 2 days. Shoot, that's awesome. Wonder what's going on this weekend. And so I'll look it up and I'm like, oh, it's Harley Fest. Oh,
Yeah.
this band Green Day is coming to town. Like, oh damn, okay.
Yeah.
And the
See.
prices like went through the roof, dude. And it's like I don't have to update it, right? So I'm not, it's like set it, forget it really. It's
That's
really cool.
perfect.
Yeah.
Sweet. Sweet.
So
Yeah, no, that I think that's great that you're using that. I was gonna say Price Labs is something that I've heard of. I don't have an Airbnb. I don't run Airbnbs, but my thoughts are
mhm.
is that you would need something automated so that it can be quick and so that you
Yeah,
can get as many bookings as you need, as well as
right.
get the right price for whatever events are in town. And that's
Yeah,
perfect. That's perfect. Um, so one thing people say is that for Airbnbs, it's not just a rental, like, it's actually a hospitality business. Would you agree with that?
correct.
Okay.
100%. 100%. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah. People, if you're thinking about going to short-term rentals, it's no longer just a rental property. It's no longer a passive investment. Okay. It's like going to Amazon. Anything you want to buy at Amazon, it's by ratings, right? And you yourself as a consumer, you go on Airbnb, what are you looking at? The first thing you look at, you filter is, oh, what are the ratings? Right.
Mhm, mhm.
And I think one of the guests is like, one of the attendees is like, oh hey, yeah, I just launched my Airbnb and I got my first booking and they gave me a 1 star. What do I need? Can I change that? What do I need to do? Right. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, the truth is that ratings, especially if you're brand new to Airbnb, it can make or break your investment, right? And
Mhm.
if you're not delivering that 5-star service, okay, those bookings could be pretty kind of rough for you. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm completely in agreement with you. I think that that's one of the reasons why I don't do it. I know that during the conversation that we had at the event, so the guy that did the Airbnb, it was his first review, and he received one, right? And so some of
yeah,
us
yeah,
were like, "Hey, just start a new account. Like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
learned your
yeah.
lesson. Start a new
Just
account."
to delete and start over. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it like we say that, but I don't think it's as easy as just creating a new account. Like, when you're creating a new account, you got to like make sure the LLC is correct, make sure you have the correct email address, make sure the communication is not going to fall through. Like, there's actually a lot behind the scenes that you got to do, right? Or is it as easy as just creating
it's
a
not
new
too
email?
hard. Honestly, it's not too hard. Just create a new email.
Okay, sweet, that's good to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, the
Sweet.
hardest part about Airbnb launching though, since we're talking about it, you just have to make sure you comply with your local ordinances, right?
Okay.
And I think we mentioned this during before session is like, hey, before you go and buy a property, do Airbnb, you better check to make sure that the local municipality
Yeah.
allows them, right? Because if they do not, or if they have certain restrictions, like, hey, um, we do not allow any short-term stays less than 7 days. That
Hmm.
means your place has to book a minimum of 7 days.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's kind of a deal breaker, right? If the guests do not want to stay 7 days, right?
Correct.
Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and so there's other really strict cities too where you can only you can only like Airbnb if you actually live in the place, or you can only Airbnb if you live within an hour or a certain distance, right? A certain amount of
Hmm.
miles or
Hmm.
whatever. So there's a lot of crazy rules going on with Airbnb. Um, Locally in my area, one town, one city, Glendale just banned them, because there was like so many uh, there were so many crazy parties at this one house and
Oh,
multiple
man.
calls, right? Noise complaints, multiple calls. I think, I don't know, gunshots. Um,
Oh,
so yeah,
no, that's crazy.
they ruined it, man. They ruined it for that town, and that town is actually kind of by the lake and kind of a nice area too. So that kind of sucks for anybody who was Airbnb in that area.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a huge bummer. But I mean, there are towns that are for it, and then there are towns
yeah,
that are against
correct,
it. And so,
correct.
like, when you go in, I'd recommend if you're looking at the property and the neighbor's standing outside, ask them, right? Like, is there a lot of Airbnbs in the area? And if so, do you guys like hate them? Like, and they're gonna be like, yeah. So there's an Airbnb down the street. The whole entire neighborhood is trying to, talk to the city to try to get rid of it. And if
Mm,
you hear that, it's probably best if you don't go into it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or talk to a good realtor that knows the area.
Right,
um,
right. And this is also where people should probably read Avery's book. And this is kind of like, hey, there's multiple different kinds of markets for Airbnb, right?
mhm,
Uh,
mhm,
you have your Airbnb friendly locations, like the vacation destinations. Those
mhm.
markets are built for Airbnb. They love Airbnbs, right?
Yeah.
And they will never terminate them or ban them, right? They may
Mhm,
have
mhm.
limits and restrictions eventually if things go out of hand, but they're not going to flat out ban them because that's how their economy runs. It's vacation
Yeah.
market, right? And
Yeah.
that's why Avery invests in the markets that she invests, right? And she helps investors get in those areas, right? So yeah.
Sweet, sweet. All right, let's shift, right? I know I went over some underwriting stuff, but the underwriting stuff is boring, right? Most people probably don't want to hear about it. So we're just gonna skip over that and we're gonna go right to Two Fang stuff, right? I thought that Two Fang and Hui brought they brought such good material, like just
Oh yeah.
crazy good material. Um and Tu Fang is, so his first name is Tu, his last name is Fang. We call him Tu Fang, right? But he goes by Tu. Um, if you know the guy, you know that he's a burr guy, meaning like he loves to do the buy, rehab, rent it out, refinance it, and then repeat. Like he does that on a well, he used to do it on a pretty consistent basis. I think he's slowing down now because he's got a family now, like of young ones, and so he's kind of slowing down. But he's starting to invest into other things like assisted living.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is he brought it and he was like, hey, so if you want to make $1 million in real estate, right? It's super easy. He was like, just
Mhm.
buy a 2 to 4 unit, buy a small single family, buy a large single family, and then now you have 6 units, right? And if your significant other, if you guys aren't married yet, they can do the same thing. You guys will have 12 units, and then you just go back to your daily routine. Meaning, like, if you don't like working in the real estate industry and you like working in IT or you like being an engineer, you just go back to doing that, right?
Yeah.
And you just pay for these, and in the next, however long the loans are, they'll get paid off, and then you'll become a millionaire. And it's like a super easy process. And so I thought that was super good. And he says that if you're single, that's even better because you can start out house hacking, right? Meaning you buy a house and you rent out the rest of the rooms inside of your house
Mhm.
while you're living there. Now, all of these ideas are based off of you occupying it for at least a year. When you first buy it, right? So that you can use a limited amount of down payment, right? Or the smallest amount of down payment possible.
Right.
And I thought that was like really good. Now, that's something that I've already thought about in the past. I've never implemented on it because, like for me, I heard it when it was too late and I had already bought, investment properties and stuff like that by that time. But I think that this is key. If you can do this, I think it's phenomenal. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, no, I mean the Burr method is a phenomenal strategy, especially compared if you combine it with house hacking, right? I think he did mention like you go get a duplex and you live in one unit, and then um, you know, especially if you do the burr where you buy a house and you force value into it, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Some
Forced
upgrades,
appreciation.
repairs, right? And then you can pull out the refund when you do the refinance. You're going to get some of that money back so that you can go
Mhm.
use the profits potentially to go do your next transaction, right?
Yeah.
And so combining these two strategies are amazing, right? And there is a certain order of operations that you should probably be doing them, because an underwriter like Johnny will be like, well, what the hell's going on here? All of a sudden, you want to explain to me why you want to go from a single family to a fourplex. Why do you want to go live in a fourplex? Right? And if you can't
Yeah.
explain that, you can't, explain that correctly to the underwriter. Underwriter's going to deny your loan. Like, what are you trying to do here?
I
Right?
mean, in most cases, like for just from an underwriting perspective, right? In the past, that what we've done is you come in, you own a single family home, and you want to buy a fourplex. We're going to automatically assume you want to become an investor, right? So then we're going to push you towards the investment products, because we're
Mhm.
like, there's no way he's moving from a 4 bedroom house. He's got 3 kids, right? He's moving from a 4 bedroom house into a 2 bedroom
Yeah,
4 unit
one bath.
property. Like, it's just, yeah, it doesn't make sense. We're gonna say, hey, if you want to do this, you can do it as an investment property, right?
Right, you gotta put your
um
20% down. Sorry.
yeah, yeah, 20-25%. Yeah.
Yeah,
So, like, know the process of doing it. And of course, if you have questions, reach out to us. We can guide you in the right direction.
right.
Because we both have real estate and investing as well as lending skills. And so um we could probably point you in the right direction and help you out. But to be honest, it, usually it's for someone. This process is for someone that don't currently own one or plan on selling their house and purchasing a fourplex, right? Making it the primary. There
Right.
are possibilities that you can do that, especially if you're selling your house or if your house got sold before you decide to go buy another one, right? So,
That's true,
um,
right? That's mhm,
yeah.
yeah.
So and then he talked about, getting an LLC. I think that
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought that that was like huge. Like, so I've taken some of Pace Morby's stuff, right? And that's,
Mhm.
Pace Morby teaches, how to, like, they call it gator lending, right? And he teaches a little bit about how you create an LLC and then you take out loans and then you lend those loans out to people who need it, that that can pay you back in a certain period of time and pay you back a lot. Well, Tufang didn't really talk about that much. He was just like, well, if we're all sitting in the room, right, and there's 30 of us here, like if we
Mhm.
can all get 50,000, that's a lot of money already. So we can go in on a big deal together, right? And
True.
could you afford to pay, a $25,000 I don't know, zero APR credit card payment? Probably, right? And then once we can, like, you would burr, but burr maybe commercial instead, because there's like 30 people going in together to do a joint venture to make it happen, right?
Mm.
So my thoughts are is that there's that was like huge for me. I was like, dude, I'm so glad that he went over it, because no one ever really does, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
um
yeah, yeah. So, a little bit about that. He's talking about building your business credit, right? And
mhm, mhm.
leveraging business credit versus your personal credit. And that's something a lot of people don't understand or don't realize that is available as well. A lot of people are more concerned about their personal credit score, and they don't know what are the benefits, how to build business credit, right? What can you do with that, right? And
Mhm.
so that was great that Tufang brought that up, and he shared that knowledge. And yeah, I mean, if you use business credit, it doesn't affect your personal credit, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
quite amazing. There are a lot of things you can do with that. So
Yeah. And then he talked about how to find lead sources and how to find your money, right? And
oh
he
yeah,
said, reach out to a good realtor who has the MLS, multiple listing services, that can search on their systems, find an investor friendly realtor, drive for dollars, right? Go knocking on doors and checking out properties, sending letters to people that you're like, hey, that property might be for sale, or I might want to buy that. And then word of mouth, let everybody know that you're an investor, and then finally talk to wholesalers, right?
yeah,
So those are 5 different lead sources. He talked about for finding the money. He said, you go with the banks. You can seller finance some of the properties, meaning you can get them. There's a few different ways to seller finance these days. Um, Oftentimes, when we talk about seller finance, we're talking about commercial stuff, but I think they're talking more like subject to, right? Where you can go in and you can get the seller to agree to let you pay for their mortgage payment, and then they own the home subject to you pay them paying off the loan, right?
Mm.
There's also like lease options that are out there. There is home equity loans that are out there. There's partnerships, hard money loan, private money loan, and of course wholesaling, right? So when you get into the wholesaling world, there are people that are probably similar to private money, where it's just people will lend you the money, and they might take title, or be a first or second lien on the title. um and then of course, hard money lenders are the money lenders that usually lend on flips. And so, if you don't know about that, I recommend you do some research on it. Bigger Pockets got some pretty good information on it, or you could just reach out to us and we can kind of talk to you about it. Because Laura, you guys have hard money products, right? Or something similar to hard
Yeah,
money products?
we do
Do you have?
actually. We have lenders who are hard money lenders. Yes.
Okay.
So. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So both of us are loan officers that have the ability to do hard money, across. My assumption is across all those states we're licensed in, as well as some that we're not licensed in, because hard money is a non QM product, right?
Right.
Um, yeah, and then I think the thing after that he talked about was how to do the estimates, right? How to calculate it out, and he gave us a calculator to go through it. But
Mhm.
if you weren't in the event, you're not going to get a copy of it. So I recommend reach out. We could probably run the numbers with you. We are only sending out that calculator to the people that were a part of the class, and so it's some secret information that Tufang has in his like he does a wealth builders event, and he actually took all of his stuff that he does over 2 days and summarized it into like a, what is it, 45-minute session. And so he was going
Yeah.
really fast.
Yeah. He did
um
like 3 presentations in 45 minutes.
he did.
Yeah. That's
And
pretty crazy.
yeah, the final one was create a symbiotic business, or businesses, right? Create symbiotic businesses, meaning
Mhm.
businesses that are in the same category as your business. Like, say, for example, for him, he's a real estate agent. He owns a rental portfolio. He does flips. He does new construction. Those are all like different businesses, right? He does some lending. He has a wealth builders education program, or Hmong Wealth Builders education program, in his school. He has a staging company. He
Mhm.
has a new plumbing company, and he's moving into assisted living. So it all has to do with real estate, right? But they're all different businesses and they all function differently. And so that's what he said about that. And I think that, like, that's really good. I think, just my opinion is that you should probably focus on one thing first, grow that one thing to be really, really good, and then move on to the next one. And that's what he really did. Even though, like, it sounds like he's doing a lot right now, he actually started with one type of business to begin with, to reach a certain level of success before he started a new business. And that's what we would recommend you doing.
Mhm. Definitely. Yep.
So we covered a ton there, and the thing is that we still got Hughes, or Hui's. I always
Wait.
call him Hugh because of how it's spelled, but like his
Yeah,
name
yeah.
is pronounced Hui, right?
Wait, yeah.
And so Hui stuff is like it. I think it was like
Oh, it
both
was
of
great.
them were on point with what it is that they presented, right? And I thought what was really cool about Hui's was he talked about how it's super important for you to live mortgage or rent free, right? Um, and so he talked about how he picked up properties that had ADUs, and then he would Airbnb the ADU, and it would cover for his monthly payments. And I thought that that was phenomenal. I don't know if you can do it everywhere because definitely here in the Twin Cities is probably gonna be much harder to do. We just don't have very many ADUs, right?
Mhm.
And the cities that allow it, you kinda have to build one, and so I don't know how cost effective that is. However, I mean, dude, if it pays for your mortgage, it pays for your mortgage, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I thought, yeah, his presentation was phenomenal. And the title of his was like, "How to Make Your First Million in Real Estate," something like that, right? And
Mhm, mhm.
he actually has a he didn't mention it, but he is in the process of publishing a book, and so
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
yeah, yeah. He's publishing a book. It's actually coming out August, September, maybe. And so yeah, we'll look for that on Amazon. And it's basically, he said, condensed. What he presented on was a condensed version of his book.
Oh, nice. That's very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, and yeah, no, his strategy was kind of like a house hack, but with
Mm,
ADUs, right?
mhm,
And yeah, like you said, not every it's not going to be available option in every single market. It depends if your municipality allows ADUs, but his does. And the key for him was that he shared, right, is that, hey, when I'm looking at buying a property for me to do this strategy, I'm looking for places with a larger lot where the main house is far enough from the existing, and most of these had existing either a shed or a barn in the back, right? And it's
mhm,
far enough from the main house. And then they would go and they would renovate and basically make that shed, that barn livable, right? And
mhm,
then they would
mhm.
throw it up on Airbnb. And yeah, it's crazy, right? So now you have two cash flowing properties, potentially, all right, if you're renting out both, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's phenomenal strategy.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's I thought it was really, really cool. There's a few things that he also mentioned. So like he started off kind of like, well, I mean, he explained who he was, and then he went over like you have to understand what is good debt and what is bad debt,
All right.
and whether like and not having bad debt if ever possible, right? It's super important for you to not get into the habit of buying things that you don't need, or that doesn't help you build wealth, right? And so he said, and it's okay if you get into good debt, like for example a house, right? When you buy a house, the likelihood is that if you're renting it out, someone's paying for the mortgage and you're getting income off of it. That's a good debt to have, because if you were to sell the house, you can pay off the debt. And so he went over a bunch of different slides so that you can tell the difference between what good debt is versus bad debt, or like the ones that are in between, right? Like buying a new car, is that a good debt or bad debt? Are you using it for Uber, or are you just parking it in the garage for fun, right? And so I think that those are pretty important. He also talked about, like savings needs to be automatic, right?
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and I thought that that was really key. He was like, dude, like if you make it hard for yourself to access your savings account, right? Then you won't be accessing it and it'll grow. And I think that his big thing is, he said willpower is overrated. People just don't have the willpower to control themselves to not buy
That's true.
something, right? Because I mean, I 100% agree with that. And I think I have more willpower in the morning than I do in the evening, right? Like
Mm,
if someone gave me a cheesecake in the morning, I'd be like, nah, I don't need that. And then, if they give me a cheesecake at night, I'm gonna be like, yeah, let me get a piece. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Um, and so, like, if savings is the last thing on your mind, then it makes it difficult,
Mm,
for you to even save. But if you put it on automation and you don't even recognize that it's going out, but it's going out into a savings account, then you'll be, less likely to spend it or use it, and, you'll be able to save more for what it is that you have your goals for. Um, and then, he talked about, the living free thing. He did do some house hacking. He figured out ways to, eliminate debt, and like move in with your parents, he said, or he had a client that moved in with their ex
mm,
and they were able to, uh co-live and still do business and end up being okay. And then of course he
mhm.
did the ADU thing. I thought the
Yeah.
ADU thing super, super cool. He also talked about burring properties, meaning like forced appreciation, and then creating income out of the property. Um, and so I thought that was really good. And then finally, because he's a part of EXP with us, right? And
Mhm.
so, of course, we love to partner with other EXP people. And, he was talking about how, as a realtor, right, you need to join up with a brokerage that have rev share. And the reason he said that is because you build a team. Like, so he invests a lot of time into five guys, right? And then they invest their time into other people, and so their businesses grow, which means his business grows. And over time, he was able to quit his IT job and just focus on doing real estate solo, right? And so the brokerage that has, EXP has a rev share model. If you don't know what that is, feel free to reach out to myself or Lore, or just Google it. Or if you need a link, we can shoot you a link. Just reach out to us. I thought that that, like, because that's my plan too, is for rev share growing, right? We're looking
Mhm.
for team members that are going to be able to do the same level of business that we do. And I was telling you, Lord, that I want to find 12 people, right? That will do 12 transactions a year, and I don't need them to do more, right? But what I would like them to do is find another person, another 12 people, and mentor them and do 12 too. In the state of Minnesota, if you're doing 12, you should be making close to six figures, if not making six figures. And so my thoughts
Right.
are is that, hey, if you can make six figures, that's more than most people make in the Twin Cities, anyways, for one individual income. And so if you can do it, your spouse can do it, whatever the case is, you guys would be living in a better lifestyle. And then you get to teach others to do the same thing. And by doing that, you grow your rev share model. And I think that, it's super important that you find a business that you can actually do really, really well. And then, of course, he gave us some of his secrets and how much he makes on a monthly basis, which is like, he in rev share, he makes six figures, right? I'm just going to say
Yeah.
it like that. We're not going to show you the slide or anything, but um, if you think about it, if in rev share alone, you're making six figures, hey, why not? You should join
Right.
a model that has it. Did you want to cover anything else? I know our time's running out, but I just wanted to see if there was something
No,
on there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so he had a really good presentation, like you said, and I think the gist of it is that understand how to use debt, right, for your advantage. Understand what good debt is, bad debt is, and then live as close to free as you can. So then the next step is to increase the amount of streams of income, right? Essentially, right? And so once you're able to increase more income, then you will build wealth, right? And um, for him, that was through rentals, through ADUs, Airbnbs, through flips. He had mentioned he had done over 100 flips already. During COVID, he was doing five
Which
a
is
month. Right?
crazy.
He's doing five flips a month. That's insane. Like, okay. And then, of course, if you also tie this into also being a realtor and being part of a brokerage that does more than just allow you to sell homes, right? Which
Mm,
he mentioned at EXP. Through the Rev Share organization, he has partners. He has partnered with over 300 other real estate agent partners. That's on his Rev Share organization, right? And so, really, what it is it's allowing you as an agent to build your own brokerage underneath EXP. And so now you're getting paid from your agents, right? Same way you
mhm,
would if you were
mhm.
to open up your own brokerage, right? But the key difference is that when you're under EXP, EXP is doing all the they're taking all the liabilities, right? So they're taking the lawsuits for you, so you don't have to, right?
Yep.
So pretty beneficial. So you get the benefits without some of the liabilities, personally, right? Including taxes and legal, getting
Accounting.
real yeah, accounting, state licenses, local,
Yeah.
regulations. All that is off your plate, right? All you have to do is focus on building your team, selling real estate. That's really what you're left with, right? And also, he didn't mention it, but EXP, you're also a real owner of the company, right? So now you're
Mhm.
also getting stock. So the more money that you're bringing in, you're benefiting as well because you're a co-owner. right? So,
Mhm,
some
mhm.
very cool things to take a look at. And like you said, if you have questions about that, feel free to reach out to either of us. We'd be happy to talk to you more about that opportunity. If you're looking for a brokerage that definitely helps you do more than just sell real estate, right? Um, so yeah, I mean, I think that's really the gist of it is like reduce your debt, uh, stack your income, and you'll get there. So
Yeah, I mean, that like, there's I think there was so much more when you're live in person. We got to network with them after the fact.
yeah,
What is it? Uh, all of the speakers, all of the sponsors, they stayed after. We, had a couple of drinks. Of course, I only drink water, so but that's okay. Like everybody else was having a good time. And then after that, we were able to do an after party too, which turned out to be really, really good. So, at least I thought it was really good. So
oh yeah,
and
I forgot about that part.
and,
No, yeah, that
yeah,
was great though. I mean, I think like you said, a lot of good learning during the event, right? But I think a lot of the relationship building and a lot of like, hey, one-on-one questions you have specifically, um, that that really comes after the event's over or in the
mhm,
hallways, right? Talking to people. That's really where you're gonna get the nuggets, right? So
mhm.
no, I think overall the event was a good success, right?
Success. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think?
I thought it was really good. I think, like, and I wanna, recap kind of what you said. Um, the learning happens in the classroom, right? In the
Mhm.
session, in the mastermind. The
Yeah.
deals happen, when we go to the bar, right? That's when the deals happen. And so if you stay after and you get to learn, you learn and then you wanna hear more about what they're actually doing and you wanna actually be involved. Let's say you have a little bit of money, and you wanna be a partner in the business. Well, they're doing transactions, so they're gonna be talking about their transactions while we're at, the bar area. And even if you don't drink like myself, right, you can at least go there. We had buffalo wings and tater tots and stuff like that was out there.
Mhm.
It was really, really good just to sit there and chit chat with like-minded investors, right? And so
Yeah.
if you get a chance, if we put this together in Florida, right, and I think it's gonna have to be next year, right, unless you're thinking this year sometime.
I mean, it's up to you, man. I'm game whenever. I mean, we put this one together honestly in 2 months. I think uh, we could probably do it in August. I don't know, but we'll see.
I'm going
Um,
down in Thanksgiving, so if you guys wanna try for it, we can aim for
oh,
that.
see, so you're already going, so there you go.
Yeah,
So set it
yeah.
up, Johnny. And that's probably a good time to go because nobody wants to be here or in or around that time of the year, right?
In the winter time,
So
right? But
right.
people are gonna be
So
with their families, so and we want people with their families, so we'll see.
yeah, we'll see. I mean, maybe you do it the weekend after or I don't know, a couple days
Yep,
before Thanksgiving. Who knows, right? But
yeah,
yeah, we'll definitely have to see where it goes from here. But I thought that it was a great event and people that showed up, right, were really curious about building their wealth through real estate. Met some great people. And I hope I know some of them got some really good takeaways and some of them were like, yo, this event was awesome. I'm happy I came. Thank you so
mhm,
much for putting this together, right? And it was awesome to hear that. Oh, because quite honestly, wasn't quite sure um how like the what people would take away from it. But
mhm,
some
mhm.
people were blown away. They're like, dude, I've never been to an event like this and I'm glad I came, right?
Yeah.
Um so I don't know, man. We might have to take this show on the road, dude. We might have to do more than Florida.
Uh, let's think about it some more. And then if we get enough, what is it, interest, then we'll make it happen,
Oh,
so
we already got some interest. Somebody was like, "Hey, you got to come to Sacramento."
yeah, yeah, they did.
So they did. So we gotta go West Coast trip. Maybe we got to do an East Coast trip, another Midwest, and Oklahoma or Wisconsin for sure. Because I'm in Wisconsin, that'd be an easy one. Um,
Yeah.
but for sure, no, I think there's people out there that need to know about this, right, and build
Oh,
their
yeah,
wealth.
absolutely.
So, yeah, overall, it was really good. event. I'm glad we decided to put this together. And at first, it was just a random idea, like, hey, let let's just do something live.
Yeah, we were like,
And
yeah, let's do it.
like, are you sure people are gonna come? I don't know. And then just like, screw it, just do it. We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. And no, but the venue, I thought the venue was a good pick. It was good location, right? Um, the food could be better. Um, but the location, the venue was good. It was, looked professional. Audio screen good. Room size of the room was good. Um, so yeah, I was happy about how the venue turned out. And then huge thanks to our sponsors, right?
Oh
For
yeah, yeah.
help to make this possible. Because honestly, without them, yeah, it probably would not have been possible. So shout out to Arden Title, Peng Vu,
Mhm.
Mai Vu Hyung at Unity Title
Unity title.
Services, right?
Mhm.
And then our other sponsors, Mark Vang with Farmers Insurance, and
Mhm.
then Sai, right? Sai
Yep. Hyung
with Sai Hyung with
with
Home Sellers, and he's also
yep,
GC, right?
yep,
Uh,
yep.
and then lastly, Fong Fang with Granite
Mhm.
Bank, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
those are our sponsors that helped make this event as good as it was. And if you're interested when we come visit your town, we do it in your place, and you want to sponsor, definitely hit us up. And we need some help. I mean, if you want this event in your area, we'd love to come out and do it and collaborate with you guys. So,
Yeah, and thanks to our speakers too. So,
oh yeah, yeah, for sure, yeah.
mhm,
Before and Hui, before came from Florida, and Hui
mhm.
came from Houston.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
huge.
thank them for coming out and putting this together. Who knows? Maybe we're talking about going to Florida. Maybe we got to go Texas too. So
Yep, Houston. Yeah, they got
good.
the golf out there too.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's where my beach house is. So um, I'm actually 2 hours from Houston. So we could probably take a little trip out there too. So.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, that's all I got, man. Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you weren't able to join us at this event, actually, we do have the recordings of most of the speakers. Some technical difficulties, we weren't able to record everybody, but we have most of the speakers' sessions on YouTube at our channel. So, of course, if you're watching our
Sweet.
podcast now, you know where to find it. If not, youtube.com, Ninja Wealth Exchange, right?
Mhm.
And so you can go catch the replays there. Um, so yeah, like and subscribe. See you next week.
Right. Later.